Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who's celebrating a B-Day. It's Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rob Has a Podcast. I am the guy who is very excited to be reunited with a great friend for many years who is an expert in all things Survivor. Of course, the winner of Survivor Africa is here. It's the great Ethan Zohn. Ethan, how are you?
Oh my God, I am fantastic. But more importantly, how are you doing on this momentous day? Happy birthday, Rob, and Rob Has a Podcast.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Ethan. It is so nice to have you here. It's a big day for me, but it's made even better by your presence here, as I really feel like it's an anniversary of sorts for you as well here, because here we are in Survivor 43. Drop the 4. Here, look at this guy from 40 seasons ago.
Wow.
What a milestone.
That is incredible. I feel honored. I feel honored to be here. And it's my gift to you to appear on your podcast. And I've waived my appearance fees in lieu of your birthday. So
okay. Oh, this is huge. This is a windfall because I didn't know that you waived your appearance fee.
Yes. Oops.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that we can go to dinner tonight. This is incredible. Okay. Ethan, we're going to talk about episode number 5 of Survivor 43. I got the chance this morning to speak with Gio, who got voted out of the tribe.
Yes.
A nice chat with Gio about everything that was going on. And so you could check that out as well. I also have a feedback show coming up on Friday night with Asia Welch, as well as we talk about a big week, which might be before the merge. Are we merging on Wednesday?
I think we are. I think I saw a hint of a merge, unless it's like a false merge. We don't know.
It could be a false start.
Cheering, arriving on the beach together in the previews.
Okay, so a lot to talk about, but let's check in with you.
Okay.
What's been going on in your world, Ethan?
That's so nice of you to ask. No, my world's pretty great. You know, I'm calling in from the middle of the woods in New Hampshire. And we're right smack dab in the middle of autumn, a little past it. So the leaves are just crazy right now.
Yeah.
So things are wonderful. Still hanging out with my cats. I love my cats a lot.
How many cats?
I got 2 cats. I got Lucy. I got Griffin. Lucy's like my cat. She definitely has an affinity towards me. I don't need to talk about this too much because I think people will stop listening the more I talk about my cats. But
love it.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of work with Grassroots Soccer.
Yeah.
You mentioned 40 seasons ago, season 3, Survivor Africa was where the idea for Grassroots Soccer started. And we are now approaching in our 20th year, Rob, 20th year of Grassroots Soccer. And I don't know if you remember back in the day when you would come and you'd play in these celebrity soccer tournaments.
Remember.
You were one of the MVP players of all time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's some of my fondest sports memories was scoring a goal back in 2004 in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And,
Pennsylvania, Milwaukee, Texas. We went to all the great places.
For sure. Now, Ethan, what is Grassroots Soccer up to these days?
So for those who don't know, Grassroots Soccer is an adolescent health organization that's using the sport of soccer to teach kids to make smarter choices in life. We are in 60 countries. We've put 13 million kids through the program. And it's something that we're incredibly proud of. But right now, I guess the most exciting thing is we have just launched a global mental health curriculum called Mind Skills.
Oh, wow. What does that entail?
Well, as we know, mental health is a hot topic these days. A lot of adolescents are struggling with kind of mental health issues and disorders. So it's the same simple model that we're doing, but we're trying to erase the stigma associated with mental health. We're educating the youth on how to identify if they're having problems, where to go if they are. And so exciting things like that. And we're doing it through the sport of soccer, and the people that are teaching them these lessons are the heroes, role models, which are professional soccer players, professional soccer coaches from the local community.
Yeah. Well, incredible job, Ethan. You've always done so much with your platform, and it's so incredible everything that you've been doing over all these years. So again, such a great job with all of that. But you
Thank you.
know this, you know that.
I think we are doing a great job, but obviously, I couldn't have done it by myself. We have an incredible team, and I've leaned on this community as well. The Survivor community has been incredibly supportive of all the work that I've been doing and Grassroots Soccer has been doing over the years. And actually, we have a big gala coming up in December, and one of the fun and exciting auction items is a live Zoom call with the one and the only Jeff Probst. So he has
Wow.
generously donated his time, and we're going to pair him up with some other Survivor legends to have a Zoom call. So I'll be talking about it, and you can bid on it, and hopefully we'll raise as much money as we can for Grassroots Soccer.
Now, I don't want to make this awkward. But I haven't been reached out to about being a Survivor legend to do a Zoom call.
Well, I did send you a package today, right?
Yes.
Has it arrived?
I don't think so. I did
Well,
pick
maybe
it up.
there's something in the package for you.
Maybe. Okay. All right. I'm sure. Okay. Are there any rules or stipulations about what you can do on that Zoom call with Jeff? Like, could you just shill for yourself to be cast on the show for however long you have?
Interesting. I didn't set the rules yet, but for right now, there are no rules. But if you're looking at it as a pitch to Jeff Probst, I guess that's on the table. It's up to you on how you want to use your time.
Does Jeff have the ability to opt out? Like, could he hang up at any point?
Well, you're going to see Coach on the call saying, "Hey, Jeff, can you get me back on?" Right?
Yeah.
Tyson's
Okay.
like, "Get me back on the show, Probst." Fair Play is going to put in a call. I'm probably going to get more bids from former survivors to get back on the show than actually new people.
Yeah. Okay. That's what they do. All right. So, Ethan, let's talk a little bit about Survivor 43. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Of course, you are the founder of really the old school merch.
Yep.
All about old school Survivor, but you played in the new school.
Did you say old school? I have. I played in both the old school and the new school. So
yes. So you're really the perfect person to talk to.
One of the most perfect people. I am the chosen one, right? The chosen
I've heard that. Yes.
So, well, how do I feel about 43? I am, it's exciting. It's fun to watch. I'm a little bit surprised at the honesty in which these players are approaching the game. I feel like no one's keeping a secret. Like, why can't these millennials keep secrets? Like, what's going on? Knowledge is power, right?
I don't even think they're millennials.
Or whatever what's a millennial these days?
I think millennials are like people in their 30s now.
Oh, geez. So they're below millennials, Gen Zs?
Yeah, Gen
so why
Z.
can't these Gen Zs keep secrets? That's how old I am. I don't even know what's...
You lumped them all in.
I did. How about just the younger people? Why can't younger people keep secrets? No, I'm just surprised at how transparent they are with their fellow, tribe mates.
Well, I'm not even sure it's just the young people. You have like the Gabler also is somebody who's telling about what he's hearing about, and so almost every single person this season at different points, if they get any sort of like an advantage or a secret, like they're telling at least another person.
Yeah, which I think is a strange approach. Obviously, we're not on the beach. We don't know what's going on. We're just seeing the moment. However, I would like to hold that information, or at least craft some sort of narrative to distract from what's really going on. However, I just see them just going. Wait, it's interesting because if you remember, I'm doing it back in the day.
Back in the day.
No, I mean, Survivor Africa specifically, we are all about honor, integrity, work hard, keep the strong, vote off the weak. We got mad at each other if we found out you were lying, which is totally asinine in today's game. However, I do feel like they're relying on their honesty. Yeah, it's like they don't know that I know that they know that I know that they have an idol. It's like double, triple, quadruple, like, crossing people. And so they're lying about being honest, and being honest about lying. It's just the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah. We were talking about this on the Survivor Know-It-Alls last night with Steven about trying to figure out why has this happened. And really, we did not have a good sense of like why this was. I mean, as recently as Winners at War, it was not like every single person was revealing, even on the edge of extinction, even.
I mean, Natalie totally scammed all of us. She got there first. She found an idol. She found a clue. She, took the clue. She crushed a bottle. She hid everything. And it wasn't until like the 4th or 5th or 6th tribal council that I actually realize that people were sending information from the edge back into the game. That's how clueless I was. That's how good a job Natalie and the other players were doing hiding that information from me. And the edge wasn't even really that much part of the game. So I'm with you. I don't understand where that strategy comes from. Is it a fear of lying and getting caught and that destroying your game? Is it a false sense of authenticity and trying to become friends with these people? So you give them a little information and that's trustworthy, and then you can backstab them.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find out where the gameplay in revealing this information comes from.
So can we go back to with the example from the edge of extinction where, Natalie had all this stuff, but that from, what I recall from hearing stories from people at the point where it was like that there started to word got out, right, about some of the stuff that Natalie had, and people were upset about that. Is there anything to like, okay, well, if I divulge all of my secrets, that's sort of maybe is a better way to go, because then you don't have where people are potentially very angry at you finding out that you had all these things?
I probably wouldn't. I might take one person, and tell that one person, but to like bring the information back to the whole group. I guess there were moments on the edge, but I feel when we were on the edge, it was kind of like we were our own group supporting each other with hopes of one of us getting back in the game.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit more of a camaraderie team feeling in the early days of the edge. Once kind of like Kim and, some of the later people got there.
Sophie,
Kim, Rick, Sophie. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It changed a little bit at that point because they had just been out of the game. But I don't feel that it's beneficial to reveal all the information. I think you got to keep something to yourself. People did get upset, when Wendell found out that Natalie sent a clue back to the main game and used his name. That pissed him off, but that put a target on him. So it was specific and it was directed. So I can see someone taking that as a personal hit.
Who did she send something to? I don't even know this.
I think she sent something to Nick.
Yeah.
And saying that it was something between Nick and Wendell.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. I mean, was I even on that show? I can't even remember.
You were there.
Oh,
I remember.
Thank you.
Don't gaslight me, Ethan. I saw it. I just didn't know that story that you were telling.
Right. But like, there was a time where we were making a collective fake idol to give to that one person who got back in the game. So that's we're all working together there.
So do you feel like that maybe, we're in these 3 tribes and, small tribes, and that maybe in the same way that you feel like, okay, well, I'm going to share my secrets with my small group, that do you feel like that the tribes are small enough that where people feel like, okay, well, I would tell you all, but like, I'm not going to tell everybody at the merge, like this is my alliance.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good strategy. I remember the first All-Stars, there's the first time they had 3 tribes.
Why do you have to apologize?
Because like I'm always just referencing seasons that most people haven't even seen.
I thought you were apologizing because you were bringing up the All-Stars.
No, I mean that was, yeah. I mean I like the All-Stars. I didn't do so well on that one either.
Yeah. Okay.
How did that go for you? Okay.
If we don't look, it's Ethan. It's about you today. Okay. Telling your stories. Yeah, people have heard all my stories. Not my time.
But the smaller tribes, I didn't feel an affinity to my tribe on All Stars.
Sure.
When
How
we
could
made it
you?
to the merge, right? Rupert, Tina, Jenna Lewis, Jerry, and Rudy. That was my tribe in Savoga. But I didn't feel like I wanted to continue those relationships into the merge. So therefore, I wouldn't have revealed any information if I actually had any information.
Yeah.
But maybe
I think that's a good point, but I do wonder if maybe if it's because of it was an all-star season where it's like, okay, well, like you knew lots of people on the other tribes that it's like, okay, I'm starting with this group, and they all told you like, hey, we're gonna vote you out. So like, how could you have an affinity for those people? But it's like, hey, I gotta get here. I'm gonna work with this person. I gotta, if I gotta get, so I just gotta get through this time. But I guess when you don't know anybody, I guess it is possible that you feel sort of like, especially because the game, as you know, it's 26 days. It's only day 11. Yeah. We're getting ready to merge. So, this is really all you know.
Correct. And it's so fast, the game. And, I think they feel the game is definitely positioned to force or encourage people to take risks. You hear all the contestants talking about it. I'm here to play Survivor. It's a 26 day game. I got to take every risk. I got to go hard, play hard. That's why I'm here on Survivor. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, I was talking to Boston Rob this morning, and he's like, we were just discussing this whole honesty thing. And like, sometimes you don't need to, swing for the fences. Maybe like, just getting on first base is okay for right now. You don't have to make this huge move, every move, all game, every game,
So, one of the things I was thinking about with the idea of this being like more of a marathon was we saw where in last night's episode, Ryan says, hey, I'm going to throw the challenge, and then I'm going to use this time and I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to get Cassidy voted out because I need to make a move for my resume. Okay. Right. Like I'm not going to win this thing because I got to make a move on my resume. And I do think that's like a byproduct of it's only day 11 in the game, but I think you're looking at the the game's half over. Right. The game's half over. I haven't done anything. I got to do something. How am I gonna get the votes at the end? Because the game is so fast.
Yep.
That you sort of look up if you haven't been to tribal councils. Like I gotta like, hey, the finals are creeping up.
Yeah, and I think that is a smart analysis of the game. However, I think that move at that time, I don't think was the smartest move to make.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily thought through consequences. Like she wasn't necessarily a target. That's not where you don't put all your eggs in voting off this Cassie girl.
Yes, very, very bad move. I'm just saying that, like, it seems like Ryan like talked himself into it. That I gotta start making moves because there's only 14 days left. I gotta. Who's gonna vote for me? I have a question here for you. Here from another great survivor, one of the other few survivors that has a last name that begins with the same letter as yours. Ooh. Omer Zahir has a question for you.
Okay.
He wants to know, Ethan, you were part of the first tribe ever to throw a challenge. What do you think of Ryan's decision to throw the challenge? And when should you or shouldn't you do so?
Great. Well, what's up, Omar? Good to meet you. Welcome to the family. It was fun watching you play. Yes, there was a time on Survivor Africa where we had the first ever tribe flip, and 3 players came over to our tribe. Silas ended up being on our tribe. He was another, very athletic A-type personality, dominating the game at that time in a weird way. He was definitely a leader on the other tribe, and we saw that. So at that point, it was in our best interest to vote him off, to basically to preserve my game. And he didn't necessarily get along with the 2 other players, which was Frank and Teresa, that came over to our tribe. So it was a calculated, smart decision that the entire tribe was part of, and we discussed it. and we just executed it. And then Silas was voted off. So we did throw the challenge on purpose, which for me was a new experience. Like, I was a soccer player. It goes against my moral compass. Like, I want to win at everything I do. So for me to throw a challenge and lose was tough for me at that moment. But obviously the big picture and the end goal is where we're trying to get. But I think that Ryan, if that's going to happen, you got to clue people into what you're doing. And obviously, I don't think Cassie was a big enough target to risk losing a challenge. I mean, going to when you only have 5 people on your tribe, it's a short game. You kind of want to stay out of tribal council. You don't want to put yourself at tribal council. And I think he was this close to getting voted off, in my guesstimation. You know, he was very cocky. He was going with this lie. It really wasn't landing that well. People were rolling their eyes. And so if it was me, I would have flipped it and I would have voted him off and just made him look silly after doing what he did.
Yeah. Him throwing the challenge.
He's a challenge beast. You can see he's very confident. He's always trying to do the actual challenge in the challenges.
Right.
Very confident about his abilities out there. As you can see, a little bit cocky, I would say. So that would have been a perfect opportunity to vote him off. More so, I understand that Gio had an idol and a clue or whatnot, so he had a little bit more power, but I think Ryan was the guy to go with.
Yeah, what you did in Survivor Africa, it was like such a extenuating circumstances where, and we've seen this in other seasons of Survivor, like Survivor China, where, you know, after a tribe swap, if you have like certain numbers, a numerical advantage, and especially in your case where Lex and Tom and Kelly were at risk of one of them going home, that it made so much sense for you all to do what you did. Very hard to argue a case for what Ryan did that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, I feel he was just doing it, to bring attention to himself, have something to talk about, to build his resume, like you said. When I was playing Africa, and I wasn't playing to build a resume, you know, maybe that's more of, you know, today's game, which is completely fine and understandable. But in my mind, it was kind of like, you know, I just wanted to get through to the next day, get through the reward challenges, through the immunity challenge. I wasn't saying I got to do X, Y, and Z so people respect my game and vote for me to win. That wasn't really part of the game back then, as far as I remember.
No, it's hard to pinpoint exactly where that comes into play. I'm sure we've talked this through at some point in the history of the podcast, but no, it was just like get to the end, and then you know, if they like you more, then you win.
Yeah,
that was it.
That was it. That was it.
That was it. And, but there was only 2 chairs.
Right. And yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah.
And
people liked you way more, I think.
I was you know, I had an advantage of being well liked during that season, so I was lucky on that part.
Yeah,
but that was part of my game. That was my game. My game was to be liked and be supportive of everyone else out there and make personal relationships with out there. So I feel, you know, I was a little disappointed in myself on Winners at War because, you know, I was definitely going in there with the hopes of, you know, making friends with people and helping carry me through. That's not the game that's played anymore. The edge of extinction. Are you sure? I just feel, because this is how what I've been noticing is, yes, it's a more aggressive game. Like, you have to take more chances and take more risks. However, I feel a lot of the players are passive in their reactionary and hoping that they're going to make it through based on other people's mistakes versus kind of leading the charge with whatever information or clue or idol you have, using that to your advantage to get ahead versus keeping it, waiting for someone else to make a mistake, and then you're able to pounce. I just think that's a little bit more of what I'm seeing in the season 43.
Yeah,
it's early though. It's early. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good point. Yeah, the idea of sort of like sitting back and waiting. I do think that you could do that more so in the 39-day game. It was longer. You know, people eventually, especially people are playing like super aggressively, they're going to probably make a mistake more often than not. A lot of times they will, you know, have the chance to get picked off. So if you just are sort of the person who's sitting back and doing nothing, yeah, you won't get rewarded. But I do wonder, in terms of like, you're going back to your original idea, like if you save that sort of like aggressiveness for your social game,
Mhm.
where you are really, working very hard on your relationships, maybe not so much on like making all of like the crazy moves, but if you're working really hard at like, winning over the other people, do you think that kind of game can still win?
I do. I think that
Yeah.
game can
Why
still win.
not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at some of the strategies, and I might mess up the names right now, but I think it was, um which tribe was it? It was like with Carla and Carla and James, I think it was,
Yes, James.
that
Yep.
were deciding to vote people off because they were paranoid and had, questioning the trustworthy relationship of that tribe. Am I right
Hmm.
about that? Where they're
Hmm.
like, oh my God, he's getting a little sketch right now. We need to vote them off. We don't know which way they're going to go. So, in that sense, it was funny. I think Sammy was saying people are getting punished for playing hard,
Hmm.
right? So, which is interesting because the whole point of the game in the 26-day game is to play hard, take risks. But if you play hard and you're seen playing hard, they're going to want to vote you off. And if you're seen being paranoid and like, sketched out about your relationships, and if you can trust them, we want to vote you off too. And that's basically the game of Survivor. And so there's like, how do you play the game of Survivor when people are voting you off for all those reasons? That is the game.
Hmm. Last week we saw Lindsay go home
Yep.
after she was coming across as being a little paranoid. Um, did you ever have an experience when you were out there, of there being somebody who was like super paranoid to the point where you were feeling like, I don't think I can work with this person?
Well, yes, and it was Lex. Lex in Survivor Africa.
Ah,
You know,
yes,
uh, T-Bird cast a secret vote on Lex, which
I remember.
threw Lex into a tailspin, and the rest of the tribe was trying to figure out who voted this, who did this. And so Lex was on a rampage. They even made a theme out of it, a rampage to find out who made that vote. So he
Right.
was a little paranoid at that moment, and it was difficult to work with him at that moment because his decision making at that point was, I need to get the person who voted for me off. And you
Hmm.
saw Cassidy do that a little bit as well after that. They came back from tribal. She's like, who put that vote on me? And James is like, it was not me, but I know who it was. Let me tell you.
Hmm.
Back to the honesty thing again, right? Like,
Right.
what are you doing? And then Gio had to come clean and say it was me and I did
Hmm.
it because of X, Y, and Z. But like, I probably would have just sat on that information and not even said anything.
So, going back to Survivor Africa, if you
Yeah.
knew that T-Bird had cast that vote against
I
Lex,
didn't know at first that she cast the vote, but then later, few days later, she had
she
told me.
told you, and you just sat on that. You didn't say
Correct.
anything.
No, I did not say anything
Why did
because
she tell you?
I think she trusted me. And
Yeah.
I think at that point, she was gunning to try to get Lex off and trying to
Hmm.
bring it to my attention, say, listen, Ethan, Lex is, he's doing really well. It's probably going to come down to like, one of you two and someone else. So like, let's get him off now. It's like, I was the one that put the vote on him. Join me and get Lex off. We can make an alliance. But I think we had a trusting relationship. I was getting along with her. And that's where the friendship and authenticity and trust and loyalty come along in the game of Survivor. People will reveal some of the information to you back then. Now they just do it. If you met them 10 minutes ago, they'll tell you their life story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they have to like make all of those backstories. That's how the Survivor producers learn all that information.
Right. I mean, we thought it was hard to get on the show back in the day. I mean, I don't know, like
Oh,
60,000 people are applying each season, but now, my God, I think we can talk a little bit about casting. One, I think they're doing a great job casting, really dynamic,
sure,
interesting,
sure.
um, people with incredible backstories. So in order to get on the show Survivor, you have to overcome some crazy challenge or
Yeah.
experience in your life just to get you to a
Uh,
point where you could apply.
I guess it rules you out.
Yeah,
Too
I
bad you don't
mean,
have any great triumphant stories that
I know. I know. I mean, they are casting more Jewish people, though, I've noticed.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
am a survivor from
okay.
the
Yes,
Jewish tribe.
true.
Um,
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
is that what you're
Uh,
talking about? Overcoming challenges in the
mhm.
history? Yeah.
Well, that did they would be able to make a great profile package of your stories.
They may, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
how do you feel? Like, do you, Survivor at one point was a game for anyone can be on the show Survivor.
Mhm.
However, now it's not anyone can be on the show Survivor. You need to have some traumatic experience in your life to enable you to even try to be on Survivor.
Mhm. Yeah. I was just like some schmo. Forget it now.
What was your story? Like, what was your pitch to them on your application video? Do you remember? I
So
know you
I
did.
applied to be on Big Brother, and I and then Lynn Spillman saw me in casting, and they said, "Okay, let's get let's just steal this guy," and they were just wanted somebody who was gonna like tell jokes. That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
kind of a first comedic outlet, I feel, in Survivor.
Hmm. Yeah.
That was
She's like,
good.
"Oh, this guy is gonna be funny, so let's put him on there." That
I
was
do
it.
feel I do feel Survivor. I mean, you did a good job filling that role, obviously. You
Oh,
made it
thank
to
you.
3rd
Appreciate
place.
that. Yeah.
Uh, I do kind of feel like Survivor's a little bit like Big Brother on a beach these days,
Big
with
Brother on a beach. Interesting.
Big Brother on the beach in the sense that there are all these like advantages and little hidden things and ways to back at in the game and disadvantages and rewards. And I don't know, Big Brother, I feel it's easily, you look at the challenges that they do and it's easily manipulated. I don't know. I just feel like there's lots of little challenges and little ways to get ahead in the game that aren't necessarily like so much weight was placed on challenges
Right.
back then. So it's like you win a challenge, that's a huge deal. Now I think challenges are minimized. There's usually one challenge an episode. It's a combined immunity reward. And it's not, and there's so much other stuff going on that they can't focus on the challenges when that's pretty much all they focused on a bunch of seasons ago.
Would you like to see Survivor getting back to more about the challenges?
You know, I would. I would.
Mhm.
I feel the show Survivor was built on, this 3-day cycle. You had your
Yep.
reward, your immunity, then tribal council, right?
Yep.
3 days was one episode for the audience, 13 episodes, 39 days. That was the format. So, Survivor, I like the old school game just because I played, but this game is awesome, right? It's not
Mhm.
better or worse. I think it's just different. It's apples and oranges. It's really hard to compare Survivor Africa to Survivor,
Yeah.
43.
Well, what do you feel like they are losing by not having as much focus on the challenges?
On the challenges, well, I always enjoyed the suffering, I guess you could say.
Yes.
I feel that's an important part of the show. And I feel some of the challenges, especially once Merge comes along and they're the endurance ones,
Yeah.
even the endurance challenges are now at the most maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel
Microwave.
they're losing the dig deep. How much do you got? Wait till your body like collapses on you, and that's valid to win the challenge. I don't think we see that anymore. And the rewards, I like seeing the rewards. They weren't that important to me, but there's strategy within the rewards when you get to, we'll see that more towards the merge, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I just feel they were just so much more important. But now, like, obviously, if you lose a challenge, you go to tribal council, which is bad. But if you are the middle group, it's kind of just like a non-factor when it could be a big important role because there's so much stuff else going on. You don't need just the challenges to make the game exciting anymore. How do you feel about the challenges? Do you want to see more, less? I mean, like they could remove the challenges altogether and the game would pretty much be the same.
I've never been like the biggest proponent of the challenges, and maybe it's because I'm not good at them. Okay, but for me, I have always wanted to see more about the game and more about what's going on with everybody. I would love to see more variation in what the challenges are because so many of them are just so similar in the pre-merge. Every single challenge is exactly the same of some sort of like big obstacle course, and then carry puzzle pieces through, and then a puzzle at the end. Yesterday was a little bit different. It was a little bit of like some sort of like parlor game of like roll the balls up the hill instead of doing a puzzle at the end. But they're pretty much all the same. And then after the merge, it's like, all right, hold this stick.
Yeah.
Okay, hold the stick and don't drop the thing. Okay, who can do it? And it's the same thing every single week. And it used to always be a lot different. There used to be like, they were testing different skills in all the different challenges. So I do feel like that in some ways, like the challenges feel like, okay, like, this is the same thing every week. So, that's the only thing that
if
really
they mixed it up more and got more creative, you'd be more into it.
I think so, especially at this point in time. Like, I feel like that it's more not so much the challenges, but I feel like that we spend a lot of time with like, okay, going on to the island where we go and like make a bet. Yeah. And so that eats up a lot of time. You should only have so much time in the episode.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about those journeys. How do you think it's a good I mean, I remember when, people were sent away on rewards, when they got back, it was always, a little bit, nerve wracking because shit goes down when you're not a camp, right? So you got to come back and figure out what just happened and what people are talking about. So them being away from the actual tribe, I like that part of it because it just adds an extra dynamic when they come back. But when they're forcing them to kind of make this risky decision, do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? Is there strategy involved in that?
I mean, I don't know if there's that much strategy involved with it. I feel like people come in, they're going to do what they're going to do. Now, I feel like that you would not be a vote risker.
Me, personally?
Yeah.
No, I probably wouldn't. You're right.
Yeah.
I like what Gio was like building up his own narrative to try to get them.
Nobody bought it.
No one bought it. It's like no one's buying anyone's story anyway. So, Ryan flopped, Gio's story flopped. So it's, they either need to, take better acting classes.
Yeah. One of the interesting things that came up last night was that, okay, so Gio is the person, he got the advantage.
Correct.
Jesse and Janine didn't get the advantage. But Jesse and Janine, no way they're going to buy that Gio got the advantage and went home.
Right.
Do you think that Jesse and Janine will get into like a whole, like he said, she said over who actually has the advantage?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe. But wait, Jesse and Janine. Wait, Janine went out there? Oh, yes. Yeah, Jesse and Janine. Oh,
all the J sounds.
Yeah, they didn't. I think the fact that other people have been on the journey before,
right?
Like, they know what's going on over there. So, like, if you come back and you have like a little bit different of a story, you're gonna be found out anyway. And then when you get to the merge and you see other people that were on that specific journey with you, other people can ask. They can find out the truth again. So maybe that's why they're just so honest when they come back.
I think so
many different ways you could find out the truth, and people know what goes on over there. So you might just tell them the truth and not. Do you think
that they should have made like each experience like completely different? Yes. Where then, like, wouldn't that be better if it's like, all right, so. Yeah, we went, they brought us to, it was basically like a gas station. And then in the gas station, there was a men's room, and there were two sinks. One said, turn on hot water to risk your vote, turn on cold water to, it's like, I don't know. Is it like, it sounds too crazy to be made up.
Right. I mean, maybe the next challenge is they just get there and it's like a giant craft table and they're like, here's some paper and some beads, make up whatever you want when you come back. You have an idol, you don't, you have an advantage, you don't, and like, see what happens. See, like,
how do you even tell a lie? Every single time it's exactly the same. What is there to lie about?
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. But I would have, it's almost like you couldn't lie because they can fact check you pretty easily within a day or two.
Yeah. You can't lie anymore with these things. So that's probably why everybody has to go ahead and say the same thing. So it will be interesting to see, if Jesse and Janine like will be accusing each other of having that advantage because only one of them got it.
And then Gio was voted off. So, and they don't know that, but they're going to assume they both, right. So they're going to assume that Gio probably didn't have it because he got voted off, or he would have used it if he was in trouble. Maybe. I don't know.
Right. So, all right, I want to go back to Janine and what's going on with her tribe. And so that we had this situation where that there was
pretty complicated.
It's a little complicated where Gabler has this idol that can still be used. Okay. And so Ellie and Janine, they went through his bag. Where do you come down on bag investigations?
I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I'd hate if it happened to me, but it's all fair in game, so go for it. It's exciting.
Did it ever happen to you?
It didn't happen to me, but what was really exciting that happened in Winners at War, that I don't know if they edited it this way, but Jeremy thought he was on the outs. The day that Danny was voted out, Jeremy thought he was on the outs. He crafted this story where he said he went into Danny's bag or Danny went into his, something like that, and it spun it out of control, and it worked perfectly. It took the heat off of him and onto Danny, and Danny went home.
Yeah, the version that sounds familiar is that he said that Danny went through his bag, and then people were like felt bad for him, and we're like, Danny, how could you?
Yeah. And I didn't find out that he was lying until after the whole show, and I saw him at Paranoia. I was like, smart.
Yeah, that was a good move. Yeah.
Good move.
Has anybody else ever tried that of the the faking the my bag has been tampered with?
I don't know, but it was a smart move. I mean, if you remember, I think that kind of spurred the next tribal council where Boston Rob is like forced or said, empty your bags at tribal council. Everyone picked up bags at tribal council. So that was kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. So we had that whole situation. Okay. Yes. But now I guess the women think that they're gonna get Gabler to not use his idol. But if they go to a merge situation and they need his idol, are they going to have to hey, Gabler, we've been thinking about it, and yeah, I think you do have an idol now.
Right, but Gabler knows that they think he doesn't have an idol, but he really does.
Yes.
And then so Ellie and Janine are on the same page, and Sammy and Gabler are on the same page. And I think Owen's going to be the guy that's in between, but he just mentioned he wants to work with Ellie and Janine more than Gabler and Sammy, right? Yeah. So it's interesting because everyone knows everything about all the other contestants, but some are lying about what they do and do not know about the others. That makes sense, right?
What do you make of Owen?
I don't make anything of him right now. He's kind of just he's around. I think he's one of those players that might sneak by a few times. Feels a little. He walked in on Ellie and Janine as they were unveiling that the bead. That's a whole nother thing, right? So she got the bead clue, the beware advantage, and he saw. So of course they had to tell him. That makes sense. But then they get back there, and she just tells everyone, "This is and then everyone's like, "Okay, let's give you an idol." What? I don't know. They just handed her an idol on purpose. In knowing, I don't know how that's going to help them.
There's a couple of interesting things there. By the way, just as far as Owen goes, that I feel like that maybe Owen could have some Ethan to him, where I feel like that he wants to sort of be in the middle. I think he's trying not to, ruffle any feathers.
Yep.
I think he is really trying to sort of and it has not been perfect. But I think that he is trying to position himself in a way where, no matter what happens, I think he's going to be safe.
Yes. Agree.
Okay. Yeah. But going back to Sammy and what was going on with giving this idol to Janine, I think that Sammy might have been betting on that. Well, no matter what happens, Gabler's not giving his beads away. We're good. We're good. I don't need to pull Gabler aside yet and tell him not to give the beads. But I guess they won him over faster than Sammy could say no.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it was interesting that Sammy went on. I mean, Sammy, I actually like Sammy. I think he's playing an interesting
Yeah.
game. What he's saying is smart to the camera. However, I thought he would be able to read the situation a little bit better, and he's still, seems to be aligning up with Gabler, and I don't know why when he has the opportunity to kind of flip.
Yeah, do you think it's Gabler's idol? You would think that, for these two, I think is Gabler the oldest player on the season, and then Sammy's the youngest player on the season. It's interesting that they are so close.
Yeah, that you nailed it. There aren't too many older people on seasons anymore. I don't even know how Gabler's 42, 43.
I think he's older than that.
Right? But if you
Yeah.
think about it, it's crazy that the oldest player is like 40 when usually they cast a wide range of ages.
Yeah. I
Survivor's
think
so
that
ageist.
Gabler.
It's so ageist. They're only casting young, hot people.
Yeah. Okay.
When are they going to
Gabler's.
cast the old, not so hot people?
Didn't they do that 2 years ago?
Yes, they did. 40 of us.
Yeah. But Gabler is 52. He's 52.
Oh, okay, got it. All right. Well, he looks good for 52.
Doesn't he?
Here's a situation. You're playing Survivor. All of a sudden, you get a heart attack.
Oh my God!
You got to go to the emergency room, and Gabler is there. Do you want him to be operating on you?
I don't think he actually operates. I think he's like
is he your doctor of choice?
I think it works with like getting the parts for the heart valves. I think that's.
He's not actually doing surgery.
Yeah, I don't think he's in. But I mean, I guess so. I mean, what's my other option?
You have no other option.
Like wait it out.
Right.
Who else is there? Ryan? Like, what are my choices?
Someone a nurse?
Sammy? Yeah. Lindsay was a nurse, but I think she was a nurse for babies. Perfect. Cody, is he there?
Cody. Cody. Oh, Cody. Yep. Oh, Cody. Cody, I like Cody.
Yeah. How do you feel about Cody overall?
I think I loved his negotiation skills when he went to steal the machete. I thought that was clever. Whether it really was his strategy going in, if it was in hindsight, that's kind of what happened. But, I think he's got, I think he's just a very gregarious, likable guy, but he might be rubbing some people the wrong way because he is so like energetic and happy and like all that stuff. But, he definitely is thinking through the game. He's thinking a little bit. I like that.
Ethan, now Cody went to go do the vote, or not the vote steal, the tribe steal last week. Yes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now you were there for when Jenna Lewis came to steal stuff.
Oh yeah,
right. When you were at Mogo.
Yep.
Right? Do I have the tribe names right?
You have the tribe name correct.
Yes. And there was some hard feelings, right?
I think so. Not really. I can't remember. I really can't remember. Yeah. It was a non-factor in the game. I don't even know what she took. But we are so miserable on All Stars. We're going to be a little bit more miserable. We're expected to be miserable. I mean, that's also, you asked like about the challenges and like, how would I change the challenges or make them more important? I do feel the survival aspect has been taken out of the game. That was always, I think some of the audience likes to see people, suffer and
they get no food.
Right. They get no food. But I mean, I feel anyone can survive for 26 days.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, I don't know if anyone's done like a time chart, but at 26 days in a 39-day game, it's like just getting started, right? I was on the edge longer than this entire game.
Yeah.
Right. So like the winner of these seasons playing less time than I spent on the edge, which is fascinating to me. And I think once day 30 comes along and you still got 9 more days, it screws with your mind a little bit. Playing that extended game is difficult. And, even on the 26-day game, you figure the first day is a half day and the last day is half a day. So it's really just probably 25 days, to be honest. So Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's you don't need to be able to have survival skills on Survivor anymore, because you can just, if you're good at being uncomfortable, and I think you're going to be good on the show.
Yeah.
You just have to
Do
be
you think,
the best at being uncomfortable.
no doubt, do you think, is there any way that the Edge of Extinction could be or should be still a part of Survivor in some way?
Yes, I do. I feel that the Edge of Extinction would be a great blood versus water twist,
Oh.
right? So like if I had a person still, if I was on the edge of extinction and still had a partner, whatever, a loved one, brother, sister on the main game, I would have probably tried a little bit harder on the edge, knowing that I had the ability to help my friend or my alliance out. So if there's a way to have the game on the edge and some, impact the real game, but I'm still benefiting. I don't know. We split the prize money. There's cash prizes for helping them out. Whatever that looks like, I do feel there's a way to bring the edge back, because I think you need an actual link and a reason to try and stay in the game, and that would be someone else on the other side.
Yeah, that's interesting. At what point should the Edge stop? Should it
Like
go
day
all
wise,
the way? Yeah, like should it go? Like I've said since they invented it that I feel like if there was Edge of Extinction in the pre-merge,
yep,
I think that would be fine. I
yep,
think that the problem is like you get people like they're not in the main game and then they sort of like just like jump in right at the end, and then they have like we saw both times that they did it, somebody
yep,
got to the finals.
yes, yes. That is. I don't know if that's a flaw in the game. It was obviously the rules of the game at that
Hmm.
time. You know, the main point of Survivor is to be able to not get voted off and to vote people off. And I think when you're on the edge, neither of those things happen, because you've already been voted off and you don't have the opportunity to vote people off. So, like, there's really, it's just a different game out there. So, you know, hardcore, baseline Survivor, it's not the same game. The Edge was a
Hmm.
lot like old school Survivor. There was a lot of downtime. The challenges, weren't so extravagant. A lot of socializing, and that's kind of a little bit of what it was like, in the older days when not so much was happening. But I like your idea of having it a pre-merge, and maybe like whatever, two people will get back in for the merge, and
Hmm.
then that's it. You call it a day. That could be interesting.
Yeah. I also think then you could have like a 16-person cast if you're going to bring somebody back into the game. You don't have to have as many people in the season. And then you have a better chance to sort of like, you don't have to do 3 tribes. You could do 2 tribes of 8. What a crazy idea.
I mean, I two tribes of 8. Would they ever do that?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it would go.
What
It'd
about
be,
this? What if the Edge of Extinction? What happens if there are two parallel games happening at the same time, but you didn't know the other game was happening? And
wow.
then all of a sudden, when the merge comes, an entire new game shows up, and you're like, "What?" That could be interesting as well.
That would be wild. I think hard to fit it all in 26 days.
Well, we bring it back to 39 days, and it
They
would
said
be,
they're never going to, Jeff said they're never going to do that.
"Ugh, Jeff, what are you thinking?
Somebody
Why?"
get on a Zoom call with him.
I know. I might bid on myself to get that Zoom call with Jeff,
Hmm.
just to pitch him
Hmm.
ideas.
Yeah. Would Jeff take an idea from you, Ethan?
I think he would. I think he would take an idea from anyone, actually. I think he's very open to creative ways to make the game better. And I think he
Interesting.
loves people who love the game. And so, to know that past contestants are thinking about ways to make the game better and exciting, I think he likes that.
Okay. Who do you feel like is the winner? Who has the Ethan Zohn upside for this season?
And I was thinking about this. So in
Who
my
will you
mind,
welcome onto your Survivor winner newsletter?
my survivor, I for some reason I like Carla. I like
Yeah.
what's happening with her. And along the same lines, Jesse. I feel like they got street smarts. Jesse was in a gang. He's now, leading a happy, fulfilled life. Carla,
Yeah.
similar kind of tough upbringing and background. And I just feel like, they got the game smarts and they got the street smarts. They can read people really well. Like Jesse, like if you're in a gang, you got to be able to, you can read people, you can get a vibe, you know who you are, what people are trying to lie to you and pitch to you. So I think I like the way they're playing. It's early days. I also like Noelle. I mean, seems like she's an inspiration. People like her. She's doing well in challenges. I think she's got an idol right now going on.
She has a steal a vote.
Okay, yeah, sorry. She's got to steal a vote. That's a little bit help. And then Ellie. Those would be my top 4. So I would look Jessie, Carla, Ellie, and Noelle is what I'm leaning on.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I think those are all really good picks. I think that I'm trying to think of anybody else who you mentioned. You want to go through real quick contenders, pretenders?
Okay.
Sure. All right. Yeah. I'll tell you who's there. You tell me contender or pretender.
Okay.
Or what about what?
No. It's a yes or no. I got
yes
contender
or no.
or pretender. Okay.
All right. Sammy, in or out, contender or pretender?
He's a contender.
For the win.
Oh, for the win? Oh, I thought just like doing well. No, not a pretender.
Yeah, I think he's a pretender. Look, I think he's gonna have a good showing, but no, I don't think he's the winner of the season.
I mean, he is pulling a fast one. He's telling people he's 22, but he's really 19. I mean, are you crazy? You're lying about that?
Okay. What about Ryan? Contender or pretender?
Ryan is Ryan. He's a pretender.
Pretender.
I think he's a big,
nice guy.
Force, nice guy, doing well. But when he gets to the merge, he'll be done.
Okay, Owen,
middle of the road. He's a pretender.
Okay, yeah, I think he's knocking at the door of contender, but I feel like I don't think I'd have him in like the inner circle.
Right. Speaking of contender, another Mark Burnett production.
yes.
For all those
also a sad ending, I think. Also, yes. Another Mark Burnett production that doesn't end on a high note. Yeah.
Pirate Master, that was a good one, right?
I don't think was that Burnett.
I think so.
Yeah,
did he do? Maybe it might not have been, but I think
I don't know.
Fact check that.
We'll fact check that. I think that might have been. Yeah. Let's see. Pirate Master. Did Mark Burnett have anything to do with it? Maybe Mark Burnett changed the Wikipedia to make sure.
Well, apparently, he did. Happened on that show.
Nothing bad happened. That guy just got canceled.
Well, someone
that was something bad. But
okay,
sure had nothing to do with Mark Burnett. All right, Noelle,
contender.
Okay. I think I would have her as a pretender. I don't see her as the winner.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I feel we the first one we disagree on.
I mean, I like. Obviously, she's an inspiration.
I think she's right there with Owen, knocking on the door. Yeah,
she's from New Hampshire.
Have you met her?
I have not met her, but I'm very excited that there's another New Hampshire resident, playing the game of Survivor. I feel connected to her.
Yeah. Gabler,
no, not even a contender. Not a pretender or a contender.
Yeah. So Carla, I love where Carla is right now because, she's done so well. She talked about how she wanted to play a perfect game. And now here she comes into the merge, Ethan, potentially. And now she's got like that Sandra thing where she's like, not going to be one of these people where now it's time to look at, all right, who's winning all the challenges? Who are the people that are stopping us from winning individual immunity? And look, you never know. Maybe Carla is going to go on a run with winning the immunities. But I think that we're going to start to take a look at the first 4 people who got voted out of the game were women. And I kind of thought for a minute, like, hold on, if Cassidy goes home, we're going to have really 5 women in a row are going to go out to start the game. I think we're going to start to see a lot of these guys go out now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there will be some form of, acknowledgement of the first 4 vote offs, right, amongst everyone. I think that will be noted amongst the cast and probably not want that to happen again. But yeah, I'm in agreement. I like where Carla is right now. I loved her, her bracelet finding mission. Yep. That was really fun and exciting. And, obviously it was a new clue at the time. And we hadn't seen something like that. So I thought it was really clever on Survivor's part on designing a challenge like that. And, getting the social, like forcing a high speed social interaction is really uncomfortable.
Could you
right?
do that? Could you get everybody's beads?
Oh, I could get everyone's beads. No problem. Yeah.
No problem.
No problem. You give
Yeah.
me 4 people. I'll call them right now. I'll get their beads.
Wow.
Anyone, name them. I'll do it.
Anyone?
You have me on next week. I'm gonna have a bracelet right here.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me work on that list of names for you. Okay. Jesse, we're in agreement with
Yeah.
contender. Okay. Here's an interesting one. Janine.
Janine.
She has an idol now.
Janine
Lost her vote.
Right. I'm not saying she's like just below contender.
Yeah.
But I don't think she has the social skills to get to the end right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a little tough. I think that her and Ellie like sort of like think they're in a better position than they actually are in. I think that maybe for Janine, I think that she was getting like a little too arrogant about where she was in the game to be I don't think she should have been risking her vote. I think she just felt like, hey, I got an idol. We're tricking Gabler. Like everything's coming up Janine.
And said, I risked my vote. Everyone's like, okay. Like, why? Like, you're
Why
not,
you
that was it's interesting because you come back, you say you risk your vote. Everyone's like, okay, well, why? That might mean you think you're in jeopardy. You needed an advantage amongst all of us. Why is that happening? Why are you feeling that way? What do I know? What do I not know? So I think it actually hurt her to come back and let people know that she went for the risk.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now here's another good one. James.
Oh, I like James. I like James.
Yeah.
James and Carla have a good thing going. If they can stay together. Am I thinking about the right person? Yeah.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah. James and Carla. I think I like him. He's cool. He's calm. He's been able to talk to people, I feel, in a way they understand and get them to trust him. He's non-intimidating. So I put him like as a contender.
Yeah. No reason why James shouldn't be a contender. It feels like from just watching the show that Carla has had a bigger story than James has, although like the edits have been a little all over the place in 41 and 42. So it's hard to really take a lot away from that. The thing that I think is really the most exciting about Survivor 43.
Yeah.
And I think Survivor 43 has been a little slow here to start off over the first 5 weeks, is that with all due respect to the first 5 players out of the game, I think that pretty much all the heavy hitters from the season have all stayed in the game to this point, where I think that we are getting to potentially a back half of the season that's kind of loaded.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not going to be one of these seasons. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you're a lot of the, I mean, you can say that about any of the first 5 that got voted out, right? I mean, but maybe they were a little bit fluffy, a little bit there for the adventure, not necessarily the game. I don't know, but I think they got rid of the people that needed to get rid of. And then, like you said, now we are kind of paring it down to the best players that are going to have the most action and playing the game the best.
It's a very like top heavy back half of the season. It's not like one of these seasons like Survivor All-Stars where all the best people are out in the first half of the season. This is where, like a lot of the people that like almost all the winner picks and everything, they are all like still out there.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that's because they're playing a good game or just happen chance that these were the first four or 5 voted out? Or do you think that's because
well, you know what? I think it's probably a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy of that. Okay, well, we are like people who are super fans of the show. They put on the super fans of the show. Like we're looking for maybe like the bigger players are sort of like looking at each other, and it's like, okay, well, who are the people that are not really going to be the biggest time players? I don't know. Maybe that's a part of the equation.
Yeah, maybe. If you remember, I'm going back to 42 and I'm going to get the names right. I think Jonathan and then the other guy that made it to the final 3, Mike, they were like, okay, well, we are the strongest ones out here. We need to play with each other. We'll get, ahead of the game. We'll get ahead in the game together. And so like maybe it's this collective, like, okay, let's keep the good, the good players are going to stick around and we'll just battle each other towards the end. Who knows?
Okay. Ellie is somebody else who's interesting, who was my winner pick. Has had like great moments, has had not great moments. So certainly somebody to watch moving forward.
Contender,
I don't contend. I'm not feeling like she's a contender for the win.
Okay, not for the win, but to go far in the game. Yeah, I could see that. I had her as a winner as well. I felt for some reason she was kind of the only one on that tribe that knew how to play Survivor in the first couple of seasons, but now it's kind of evening out a little bit more. But she thinks she knows what's going on with Gabler, and she doesn't really.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I mean, it's one little piece of knowledge, but I think she feels like she's playing a better game than she is.
Okay, there's Dwight.
Dwight,
not a serious contender for the win.
Haven't heard much. He's quiet. Haven't heard much from him, but you never know. Like he's a little questioning of, I think, who is it? Cody and Noel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just going to float a little bit.
Speaking of Cody, there's Cody. Not a contender for the win, right?
Not a contender for the win.
Contender for All-Stars for sure.
Definitely bring him back for a second season. Yeah, who would you bring of this group as it is right now? Who would you bring back?
I think Cody is certainly. And then I think the other standouts, we've talked about Jesse and Carla for sure. And I think for everybody else, I think that they're sort of like, wait and see.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Exactly.
Yeah, we're simpatico.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And then Cassidy, probably not a contender right now.
Probably not a contender.
Probably not.
I actually didn't remember she was even on the show until this past episode.
Yeah. But she said, what do you think about what she said to Gio? She's like, hey, you're pointing the gun at me, but what you don't know is that your gun is filled with blanks and I'm the one holding the bullets.
Yeah. I liked it. Smart. Yeah.
Ethan, I have some questions for you from the listeners of Rob as a podcast. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
All right. How about from Bree, who says, since Africa was the first season to have a tribe swap, how does Ethan feel about no tribe swaps?
I'm fine with no tribe swaps. I think, the tribe swap definitely was a potential to ruin my game. And I feel it's a little bit, it happens every season now. So it's like, it's expected. What if they swap?
It doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't?
Not in the new era.
Oh, maybe it hasn't. Well, they haven't mixed it up at all?
No, 41, 42, 43, no tribe swap. In Winners at War, they had basically they went from 3 tribes to 2 tribes.
Correct.
Or no, I'm sorry, they went from 2 tribes to 3 tribes.
No, 3 tribes to 2 tribes.
In Winners at War, they went from 2 to 3.
Okay. Right. But then I think everyone randomly picked and they were pretty much ended up on the same tribe, right? There was no changeover. Was that this season?
I think that was in Survivor All-Stars.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Survivor All-Stars, everyone picked a thing and it ended up the same. That was Survivor All-Stars.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my
yes.
God. Oh. Yeah. My mind is...
ask Boston Rob about that one. That was
right.
That was hairy.
What if they swapped after every challenge?
Well, I think you could do it for an all-star season. I think it might get confusing for people on new player season. Would you like to see that?
I think it would be interesting, mix it up after every, because then now all of a sudden you really need to keep your, it just would be chaos all the time. It would basically be a one tribal game every game, and the advantages and challenges would be more important if you're switching.
Would you worry people were throwing the challenges all the time based on what groups they get set up with?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
What if both tribes were trying to throw the challenge?
Oof. Then there'd be no winner.
Somebody has to eventually. Yeah. I do miss the if not tribe swaps. I really think that they should go from 3 to 2. That might be what they do this week.
Right. It could be. Yeah, I do like mixing up of, the people. The if I was to say, keep going. Forgot what I
Because
was
I'll
gonna
tell
say.
you what I don't like is merging at 13. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too many people.
It is too many people. It is
Yeah.
too many people.
Like-
and then there's really no one. Well, unless they're going to have this. Was there how many people were on the jury last season? Was it because on Winners at War, it was
11.
everyone?
I think it was 11. Yeah.
It was 11. Okay, got it.
So it was the final 3. I think there was 11 person, or it's an 8-person jury. So basically, I think from after they had it where you have to earn the merge, and then once you get to the merge, then it's the final 11 starts the jury.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. This is a very interesting question for you, Ethan.
Okay.
This is from Average Coaster Fan.
Okay.
Wants to know, what was it like being part of Survivor the Ride at Paramount's Great America back in 2005?
Wow. Very, very good question. I'm curious if they were there. It was nice. It was fun.
What is that?
So basically, and this is something I've been thinking about since that moment, because basically it was an amusement park that had a Survivor themed area. They had a fake tribal council. They had some balance games going on where you could almost just kind of go and play a mini game of Survivor and test out the challenges, which I think is really neat. I think that would be really popular. I mean, you know what's going on right now in the Survivor world. They have all these little mini Survivor games, 4 or 5 days. They have online games. People want to try the challenges. They want to touch them and run through them and see the props and the art department and what they put together. So I think it would be really fun to have a semi-permanent or permanent Survivor themed, I don't know, amusement park where people could go and compete against your friends in challenges, or maybe you would show up and I could compete against you one day, Rob.
Okay.
That would be really exciting. But I
So
was
exciting.
honored to be part of that ride and that experience.
But when they say Survivor the Ride, what does that mean?
I can't really remember what the ride was. There might have been a little roller coaster there. I don't know. I just remember taking pictures with a fake torch that they put out, and there was some balance game. I remember with, and who was there? I was there with, I think it was Jenna Maraska, Boston Rob, Amber. I think we all went there for that one.
Okay, for Survivor the Ride. I mean, really, that could be another title for your autobiography.
Or some other movie on OnlyFans or something. Yeah.
Yes. Have you worked on an autobiography, Ethan? Is that coming soon?
It is not coming soon. Although I'm looking for a ghostwriter if anyone's interested.
Okay. All right. Be on the lookout. All right. OM Jill has a question.
Yes.
This is more of not so much a question, but this is I am politely demanding to know what Ethan thinks about this. Fire is an important revelation. Was it a thing in 40? Did 40 start because Jeff didn't want his friends to be thirsty? I must know. So last week, I talked with Chanel Howell, who was on season 42 of Survivor, and she told me, because we talked about how Jeff, you have your flint, and then you lose the challenge, you come in last place, and then Jeff says, "Sorry for you, I'm taking your flint."
Right.
And then she was like, "We didn't even care because we don't even make fire."
Yeah. I mean, shocking to me that to go on Survivor without knowing how to make fire, even trying to have made fire before you got out there is shocking to me. I remember on season 40, whether he was joking or not, Yule, when it came down to the final few days, when we realized someone's going to play and get back into the game, and they might get back in the game and have to make fire in that last final fire challenge, Yule didn't know how to make fire, which I don't know if he's being honest or not. But the idea that someone would go to Survivor without knowing how to make fire is shocking to me. But it gets back to the whole thing where, like, it's Big Brother on a beach. You don't really need to know how to boil water, light a fire, find food in the ocean, use fishing gear. It just doesn't matter. All you have to do is be able to be uncomfortable for 26 days, be a little bit hungry, you're probably a little bit tired, maybe sunburnt. Sure. But other than that, everything else doesn't matter. So like the rewards, they have to combine the rewards with the immunity, because it's not really worth fighting for the reward on a 26-day game with a tarp. Who cares?
Mhm.
I'm going to be uncomfortable for 2 days. Big deal. So I think everyone who goes on Survivor, you need to know how to make fire. One,
Yeah.
because if you make it to the end, you're probably going to have to make fire at some point, and it could be make or break your game. So I wouldn't rely on anyone else's fire making skills. I would learn it myself.
Okay. Ethan, you brought up Yule. Did you watch Yule when he went on Snake in the Grass?
Yeah, snake. I still think he's a snake. Yule.
Yes, you think so? Not
I'm friends with Yule. We joke all the time.
Not Malcolm? Yeah.
Not Mal. I think I was I was approached to be on this show like a lot of the other former survivors were. However, it just wasn't the right time for me. So I'd like to think Yule took my place. And if I was there instead of Yule, I would have known Malcolm was a snake. But it was a neat concept for a show.
Mm-hmm. Would you do something like that?
Yeah, I'll do anything. I'll say yes to anything. That was my whole thing. Like after, I wish I said yes to more things, to be honest. I pretty much said, yeah, I would show up anywhere, but I did say no to some things. But that was what it was all about. You remember all the fun opportunities that came our way. And I see that happening a little bit now. Now there's the challenge and the CBS challenge. So there's all these mashups.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we were asked to be on other shows, Amazing Race, Fear Factor, Eco Challenge. So it was really fun to just say yes to everything and just keep competing on reality game shows.
Ethan, did you watch the CBS challenge?
I watched the CBS challenge. I watched every episode, actually.
Yes. What did you think? Did you like it?
I didn't mind it.
Because you said you love the challenges. You wish they were a bigger part. I mean, there's no show where the challenges are a bigger part of what's happening than the challenge.
Right. But then it skewed a little bit too challenge heavy, in the strategy kind of part was a non-factor. And I don't think
such a Goldilocks.
What?
You're such a Goldilocks. This show has too many challenges. This show has not enough challenges.
Hey, nothing's ever good enough for me. I think the integrity of the game was questioned on that final.
Yes, very questioned.
Challenge. So I don't like when that stuff happens. I felt similar things happened on Amazing Race. I think there seems like they were making up the rules as they went along. And I just don't think it was a well-produced show. However, it was fun. Like I love seeing all my, former, friends from Survivor out there competing. That was pretty much why I watched the show. Tyson was on it, and Ben and Sarah and Dom and some other folks as well.
Okay. This is a question from Josh Green, who says, who from one of your seasons do you think that Ethan would have put a palm frond on him in the middle of his sleep on the island? What'd you think of that last week when Gabler did that?
I don't know. I mean, you're lucky to get 15 to 30 minute spurts of sleep. So I would have been pissed if someone put a palm frond on my face when, like, listen, it's a blanket. That's not a blanket. It's not going to keep me warm. I do remember during Survivor All-Stars, we didn't have much materials, as you know.
Yes.
Rudy ended up digging a trench in the sand. He lined it with palm fronds, and then he laid in the trench, and then he put the palm fronds over himself, and he basically was like living and sleeping under this cocoon in the ground, and that was his way to sleep. Meanwhile, we tried to build a little bit of a platform with a shelter, but that was the only time I felt the palm frond.
I'm gonna dig a cocoon in the ground. Leave me alone.
Yeah. He also was just drinking the water.
Yes.
And at that time, we weren't
supposed to. Yeah. Now everybody does it. He's a trendsetter. Is that where Rupert got the idea to build the shelter underground from Rudy digging a trench?
The underground bunker, the Rudy's underground bunker. That was a disaster.
Yep. Okay. Then I have a question for you from Trevor Chong, who wants to know, who would you have aligned with if you were on this season, Ethan?
Ooh. Great question. Assuming I'm, everyone's on the same tribe, who would I align with? I probably would have, aligned with Carla. I
Mhm.
probably maybe would have aligned with Owen. I don't know. I feel like, calm demeanor, you a little bit. And probably Noel, to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably would have aligned with Noel. Those would have been the three. I feel like I would get along with those folks.
Mhm. Okay, that's a pretty good 3.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
Who would you have aligned with?
Let's see. I feel like I could align with anybody.
Of course.
But who am I simpatico with? I feel like Owen. I feel like I
Mhm.
could align with him. I feel like I could align with Jesse.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ellie, I think.
Yeah, I can align with Ellie.
Mariah seemed like she would have been fun. I'm a people person, Ethan. It's
You
not just
are.
one type of person that I
You
can
are.
get along. That's how I can interview all these survivors.
It is. It's true.
Just-
There is a case to be made. There are, as a philosophy and strategy, to align with people that have skills or
Mhm.
characteristics that you don't have. So, like, I always advise people that are going on the show, like, know yourself, know who you are, know what you bring to the table. So therefore you can forge relationships with other folks that either have complementary or alternate kind of skill set than you do. And that kind of makes the great alliance. Lex was an A-type personality. It wasn't necessarily my style. I knew he liked that type of leadership. Big Tom was a little bit of a comedic outlet. He took the attention away from me.
Sure.
And Johnson was my like ride or die kind of secret fourth alliance. We'd had this kind of mother-son relationship. And so I was looking for people that had just different characteristics than myself to help make myself a more complete player.
Okay. Catherine Allen wants to know, Ethan, do you think that Jesse's decision to risk his vote for a 33% chance at an advantage when his tribe only has 4 members was smart?
No, that's what I'm saying. The game is like forcing you to make these risky choices. And I don't think they're thinking through the facts of the game where, like you said, it was a 33% chance, and you're pretty much, you have a 25% chance of staying in there, and you're kind of only giving yourself a little bit of an advantage of making a big stand and letting them know that you took the risk. So I think that was not a smart decision.
Yeah. Steven and I were talking about this last night. I didn't mind it so much for Jesse, only because I feel like he has a lot of different outs. Like one, he may never go back to tribal council with that group. There's a possibility that he gets through the pre-merge and doesn't come in last place again. Maybe he's feeling good about that. Also, he knows that Cody has an idol. And so there's the possibility, I guess, if all hell breaks loose and things are going really bad, maybe he feels like, okay, well, I'll get Cody to play the idol. And so I'll be okay there. He also probably feels like, hey, if I get this, and he doesn't know it's going to be 1 and 3, he thinks that he might have felt like, hey, I'm going to bluff these other people off it. I'm going to get the thing, and I'm going to get an idol myself. And so I'll be or an extra vote, which would potentially put things back in my favor. So I think that there were a lot of different ways that it could have worked out for Jesse. I mean, even still, he's in a not such a great position where it's potentially a 2-2 vote if that tribe goes back to tribal council. So it's not like a sure thing he's safe if he doesn't risk his vote. So I didn't think it was the worst idea for him.
Yeah, I can see your points. Let's talk a little bit about all the kind of options to have these percentages. We got the shot in the dark.
Yeah.
We have this risk or reward thing.
Yeah.
We have when Jeff, I don't know what the challenge is called when it's got the 3 little you pick one
do
box.
or die. Yeah, I think they're not doing. I think that died this season. I think they're not doing it. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel about incorporating such a strong system of luck in the game of Survivor? I know you have to be a little bit lucky to get to the end of the game of Survivor, but before the luck opportunities weren't presented to you, you kind of had to find them or you just fell into them. Now it's like you're gambling here.
Yeah, I don't love it. It feel like that it does not necessarily reward, who is the best player. And I don't know how closely like you follow like the baseball playoffs, but like I just feel like that it's like the
Are the
same sort of
Patriots
idea.
still in the World Series?
Yes, Patriots in the World Series.
Oh,
But I
yes.
feel like that, but I don't know if this is like only like Survivor, where it's like, oh, like that's boring if the best player just wins. Like, why don't we like have like a million teams in the playoffs? And then you get a slight advantage if you're better, but anything could happen. Don't we like unexpected outcomes? It's like, yeah, I guess it makes it more exciting when it happens, but then you walk away with it. Like, it's like, really? This team won what?
Yes.
And I think that's kind of like what they would like to have happen on Survivor, where it's like, sure, like you could be the best player could win, but wouldn't it be fun if anything could happen?
Yeah, I agree. And that I feel that in today's game, an average player or a below average player can go far in the game because of all these
Mm-hmm.
luck opportunities that could, get a better player to leave the game. Because if you're in theory a better player, you're playing hard, you're taking the risks, there's more of a chance your luck's going to run out versus
Mm-hmm.
someone else who's just an average player. They're there for the adventure and they're waiting for you to make a mistake, whether that's a
Mm-hmm.
strategy or just happens. I don't necessarily think that's fair, but obviously Survivor isn't fair. I think even last season, Jeff was like, you can turn in any reward for another reward. I was like, what? You can? When did that happen? Do you remember that? When he
I had a rant last week about that, where Jeff's like, not only could you do it, Jeff's like, yes, of course. Yes, you always are able to trade reward for a different one from earlier in the season.
that was new on the
Since
spot,
when?
right? Yeah. Did he
Yeah.
just make that up as they're going along?
He said that you're always allowed to do that. Did you know, Ethan? Did you think to do that in Survivor Africa, to trade a reward for
No.
an earlier reward that was won in the season?
No, we were like scared, at tribal
Mhm.
council, like you just looked at Jeff, you didn't talk to anyone else. Now live tribals, you can get up and walk around, which no one's done yet. But you can question Jeff, you can combat him, you can talk to the other players at tribal, when before, we probably could have, we just didn't know we were allowed to. So it's
didn't
those
know.
people who
You
kind
probably
of push
weren't,
the
though.
envelope.
You probably weren't.
No, I don't
They probably
know.
would have told you to sit back down.
Probably. You're probably right about that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's when things like that happen, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
do the players know that? Probably not. And Jeff was now telling them in the middle of the game.
Mhm. Yeah. Now there's so many innovations that have come into Survivor, and you can relate with that because you are an inventor, of
I am.
course. The inventor of the Easy Crunch Ball,
Yes, we
20
dropped.
years 20 years strong.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
Established 2004, right?
established 2002.
2002. Oh, happy 20-year anniversary.
Thank you very much. I actually, I thought of this when I was in college, but I told the world when I was on David Letterman after I won Survivor Africa.
Yes.
And
What
then it
did
took me
Dave
20
say
years.
about the Crunch Bowl?
Well, the funny thing is that, when you back then, I was very fortunate to go on Dave Letterman. You fill out a little card of, who you are, where you're from, likes, dislikes, hobbies. So on hobbies, I wrote down inventor. And of course,
Yes.
freaking David Letterman asked me one question and it was like, so what have you invented? And I'm like, well, I've invented the Crunch Bowl. And the crowd went wild. And I'm like, I got something here. And then it took me 20 years to.
Yes. Hold on. I have a delivery here in the room that my son Dominic has brought me something. Dominic, what are you saying?
I said
Are you talking the microphone? Oh, here, you want to come over here?
What's up, Dominic?
Yeah.
Mom said
This is
that-
Ethan from Survivor.
Mom said it's a delivery from someone who won Survivor like 100 years ago.
No, that's okay. So we got a delivery at the house.
Richard
from
Hatch
somebody-
sent you something. Aren't you excited?
Yes, who won Survivor 100 years ago. And let me just see if I can open this.
Mom said.
Yes, open this up. I don't have like that. Should I open this up now, Ethan?
Sure, you can open up
Okay.
now. This is like a live unboxing.
Unboxing.
With
Okay.
Rob. We just hope that Russell doesn't pop out of that thing.
I'm here.
I'm so small. I can fit in this box.
You never should have let me in.
Put me back in the box.
All right. This is like a challenge to
It is a
open this
challenge.
up.
I over taped the box. So
Dominic, can you give me a scissor? Yeah.
The video. I will narrate what's going on.
Yes. What is it? Is this a birthday present or this is just?
This is a birthday present for one of my favorite podcast hosts in the history of podcasts.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Yep.
Yes,
So,
that Ethan and I have been friends for so long. Podcasts weren't even invented when Ethan and I first became friends.
That's also something while you're opening the box. I think it's interesting how people, play the game a little bit and make their decisions on how they feel the audience is going to react to their move or perceive move.
Now, is this something or is this packing material?
That's all part. I'm a family man.
Yes.
I like to include. You're not the only one celebrating a birthday today. Your entire family gets to celebrate with you. So I got
some old school merch.
Old school tie-dye.
Tie-dye. Now, does Rupert know you're doing tie-dye shirts?
I did not get a licensing agreement with Rupert.
Yes.
But I'm working on that.
Here. Don't go back there. Okay. You're gonna knock stuff down. Okay. All right. And then what's this?
I don't know.
Oh, a postcard from the Edge. Happy birthday forever from Ethan. Well, thank you. Okay. And then is this?
I wish I did have postcards. Oh, look at that.
And what's this?
You can open the underside.
Okay.
That might be. I just have one question for you, Rob. Are you sick and tired of soggy cereal?
For sure. Dominic, do you like soggy cereal?
I don't know what that is.
Soggy cereal?
Do you like cereal when it's wet and disgusting and milky?
Yes.
No, we like crunchy cereal.
This is a special bowl that you can put the milk on one side and then put your cereal on this side and then scoop the cereal and dip it in the milk. This is perfect.
This is my dream come true. It took me 25 years to bring this
Crunch Bowl.
The Crunch Bowl. If you imagine a swimming pool, it's got a shallow end and deep end. Same with the Crunch Bowl. You keep your cereal up top, you put your milk down below, and you want a little crunch, you just tap it over the edge.
Yes. Okay.
And Rob, what most people don't know is that not only is it a Crunch Bowl and not only is it good for cereal, it's also good for all your snacking needs. Chips, dip, salad, dressing, crackers, soup, apple pie, ice cream, hummus, carrots. And not only that, look at this. It is a cell phone holder snack bowl.
So I can put my cell phone in the Crunch Bowl.
You put your cell phone on the shallow end and you snack. So now you can watch yourself on your own podcast and snack on popcorn at the same time.
Wow. Okay. This is incredible, Ethan. You've outdone yourself.
Thank you. I'm hoping that Jeff will incorporate these into a reward challenge at some point. And therefore,
I'll share a Crunch Bowl with you, Dominic. Here. Okay.
Go test it out, Dominic. Let me know how it goes.
Go test it out. Okay. Where can we get our hands on the Crunch Bowl?
You can go to mycrunchbowl.com and get yourself your own Crunch Bowl. It is microwave safe, dishwasher safe.
I was going to ask you, but it was microwave safe. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's microwave safe, dishwasher safe. It's got a non-slip grip on the back end. Like I said, it's got a shallow and a deep end. It's got a spoon rest, cereal slide, milk chute. It's stackable. It fits perfectly in your kitchen counter. And that's my side hustle right now.
Do you eat a lot of cereal?
I do.
What cereals?
I don't eat as much anymore as I used to, but I was a cereal freak. It's pretty much all I ate all the time.
Yes. Okay. What about Survivors? Could we put rice in here?
I've definitely had rice in there. Yeah, we do rice in the shallow end, salt water in the deep end.
Oh,
sometimes I put a scoop of sand on top as well, just to like mix it up a little bit.
What about coconut?
Coconut. I don't eat coconut anymore, nor do I eat coconut or peanut butter. I'm not the greatest with rice. I'm fine for some strange reason, and I still like seafood.
Okay, so. Yeah, all these things, what about the corn that was in Survivor Africa, right? You had to eat the corn all the time. And you said everybody was like, no, we're never eating corn anymore.
Yeah, I eat corn. No problem. The corn they gave us was more like cattle feed corn. It wasn't like,
Mhm.
corn, popcorn, or corn you get on the cob. It was like,
And you don't eat that anymore.
cattle. I don't eat cattle feed anymore. I do not.
Mhm.
No, I'm more into the
Okay.
horse feed.
Yeah. Ethan, what else is going on? Anything?
That's it's a lot of what I've got going on.
Mhm.
A lot of charitable work. Do a lot of work within the cancer community as well. For those people who do not know, I am a 2-time cancer survivor, and my exciting new cancer focus is a new app called Cancer Buddy, which is a
What does
way
the app
to.
do?
The app pairs a cancer survivor or a patient or a caregiver up with someone else who is also going through a similar thing at the same time. So if you
Wow.
imagine like a dating app, but for cancer and not to find love, to find connection. So I
Yeah.
fill out the form, my age, where I'm located, likes, dislikes, pictures, side effects, types of cancer, and then it will match me up with someone else out there so I can connect with them. Because when you go through cancer, it's like being on the edge of extinction. It's like a
Yeah.
really lonely, difficult, stressful time of your life. And to be isolated like that is a scary situation. So this app enables you to connect with other people and feel
Yeah.
less alone while going through such a challenging time.
No doubt. Was that your idea or did somebody approach you with that?
No, it's an idea that came from the Bone Marrow and Cancer Foundation, and they approached me to be one of their ambassadors or to be their ambassador. So
Mhm.
it's a new technology. Nothing like this exists in the cancer community. And hopefully after we roll this out, it's only about 2 months old. We rolled it out, but it will be applicable to all forms of, I guess, challenges someone may be going through, whether you have MS, ALS, HIV and AIDS, cancer. There'll be ways to be able to connect with other people going through something like that.
Okay. Well, that's and just another incredible thing that you're working on. So I have to commend you. We had a lot of fun.
Yes.
You're great. You're a great sport.
Thank
But
you.
really, you do so much important work, and it's just honestly really incredible to hear about everything you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And my last plug for the incredible work that I'm doing, Rob, is as you know, I had a really fun old school survivor shop selling merch, which I just sent you a giant
Yes.
box full of merch. But I've relaunched the store. You can go to
Yes.
ethanzon.com, but I have a lot new designs. This shirt right here is one of our newest designs.
Yes.
I have
That's
hoodies.
beautiful.
I have t-shirts. I have, little baby clothes now. I have women's shaped clothing as well as men's shaped
Mhm.
clothing, all different forms of colors. And so I highly suggest everyone go to ethanzon.com, check out the new stuff. I have new stuff dropping every week. So
Every
go back
week.
every week. I got a bunch more designs coming out, new colors, new styles.
Here,
Uh,
what's the URL?
the URL is ethanzon.com. And then just
Okay.
click on the
Can I
shop
bring it up
section.
on the page so we can see what's going on here?
Ooh, I
Okay.
would like that. And
Okay.
listen, I'm open to suggestions. Like the way I have it set up right now, I can easily bring in a couple new items. If you're looking for a certain hat or a zip up or a color, email me, DM me, let me know what you're looking for. And if I have it and can get it, I will put it in the shop
Okay.
to cater to
So
all your survivor
the
needs.
Ethan Zahn shop is this your house where all the clothes are hung
That
up?
looks like that's an old version of the shop of my website.
Mhm.
But yeah, you
Oh,
can. Yeah, so there you
yeah.
go. Look, so these two new Fijis are new. I got a new school survivor shirt. I have an old school survivor
That
shirt.
was
I'm
so
selling
smart to get the new school survivor.
all these hoodies down here. We got
Mhm.
7 different colors of hoodies. We got a tank top now. We got a black tank top like Boston Rob used to wear, baby clothes. Whatever you got, we got it.
Wow. Okay. Ethan,
Yeah.
incredible. ethanzon.com just in time for the holidays.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Do we know is Hanukkah early or late this year?
Hanukkah's a little early this year. And
Okay. So don't wait around, everybody.
don't wait around. You should buy one item for each day of Hanukkah. And as you know, every purchase from our shop benefits charity. So
Mhm.
these are a charity t-shirt.
Okay. All right, Ethan, any place else that people should follow you on social media?
Whew,
Are you
no,
active on social media?
I try to be
I
mostly
saw.
Instagram.
Yeah. Let's talk about just one other thing. I want to go back to your Instagram.
Okay.
Because I talked about this last week on the podcast that the Survivor put out a video about Jeff Probst. And
Yes.
they called him they made a teenage dirtbag video
Yeah.
of featuring Jeff Probst from his many different looks.
I don't think
And
Jeff would ever be a dirtbag, but anyway.
he doesn't seem like a
No,
like a
no,
dirtbag. Okay.
no.
But you thought that there was
Are a dirtbag.
there was one no there was one look in particular
Yeah,
that you said that you wanted to really recreate, and so you went to Instagram
I did.
you decided to
Yeah, I was
bring back
inspired by Jeff's looked like he was probably in a marching band or something along those lines. And there you go. Look at it right there. Jeff inspired me to resurrect my marching band uniform. That was taken a couple years ago. But yeah, what do you think? Who wore it better is really the question.
Well, yours is like a smoking jacket. You're like Hef.
Thank you. I think that's actually Lisa's jacket and pants. My wife, Lisa.
Yes.
And her hat, actually. This was her whole outfit.
When I talked about this on the feedback show, Maggie Morgan, who I was podcasting with, said Jeff looks a little bit like it's giving Buckingham Palace guard.
Yeah, a little bit. He would actually had to hold that position for 24 hours straight, Jeff.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was incredible that you found a point in that video to recreate.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I dug deep for that one, Rob.
Well done. So, great job. Look, you're such an influencer. Look at you, look at this, out in the woods with all your supplements.
You know, I'd like to call myself a Jewish wilderness icon. You know, there aren't many people from my tribe that live in the woods. So if ever you bring me back, my title should not be EOE. It should be Jewish Wilderness Icon. EOE, as we all know, Edge of Extinction, it actually stands for the end of Ethan, because that place literally almost killed me. So I'd like to, rename the Edge of Extinction the end of Ethan.
Yeah. Ethan, what's going on in this picture? What are you're fishing with your phone?
As you said, I have been very fortunate to be able to do some influencing, and this was actually an influencing thing for a new mobile app called Jackpocket, which basically enables you to play the lottery anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere. Even when you're fishing.
Even when I'm fishing.
Wow. Incredible.
Thank you. You're like my best PR guy right now.
I love it.
What else are you going to dig up?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Who are these? Now, who are these guys?
Oh God. I don't even know what you're talking about here.
You don't know who these people are?
What do you got? What are you on dial-up here? What's taking so long?
I'm not. Nothing's taking so long.
That's I had a high school reunion
this
past weekend, so I had a couple of my friends here in New Hampshire. If you can see the beautiful bridge behind you,
it is beautiful.
Historic bridge here in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. There's no mortar or no construction used to make that bridge. It's all from the pressure and the center point of the axis.
Wow.
Rock. Yeah. We're famous for those here.
Yeah. Incredible. Okay. All right. Well, Ethan, thank you for going through all of this stuff. So wonderful to have you.
You can go back to like 2002 on Google if you want. Those pictures are a lot more fun.
Look, I love it. But I'm so appreciative that you make time to come on here and talk about Survivor and everything that you have going on. So it's really cool. I appreciate all of the gifts that.
Happy birthday. People. This was actually, it's a birthday gift. Gave you some Crunch Bowls, some old school Survivor merch, and then I threw a little something in for your family.
I eat a lot of cereal.
Do you?
Yeah.
How do you eat your cereal? Are you a pour it in and go, or you milk cereal?
You know what I do with my cereal? And I don't talk a lot about food on the podcast, but I don't really use very much milk at all. I'm a big Greek yogurt guy.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah. So really like Greek yogurt, and then I throw like protein powder in there,
Yeah.
and just like a little bit of almond milk, and then the
Okay.
cereal kind of like sits on top. Like I don't
Yeah.
even let it get soggy.
Right. So you probably wouldn't even, the way you eat your cereal, you wouldn't need a crunch bowl.
Well,
right now,
now I
unless you
can
wanted to
control.
keep
I
your-
can control the ratios now.
You can control the ratio. You can keep your, I mean, you can put a little stuff on top, and then bring it down when
Put
you're
the
ready.
cereal off to the side and have yogurt where when I need it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yogurt to go.
All right. Speaking of to go, we have plenty more to come your way. All right. Got a lot of fun podcasts coming up. Okay. The feedback show coming up on Friday.
Nice.
We're gonna have a birthday party for Abby Maria tomorrow.
Ooh, fun.
That's gonna be very fun. She
Brazilian themed.
I don't know what it's going to be. She's trying to win a contest, but also she's going to talk about Survivor. We're going to talk about the Mole. Have you watched The Mole?
No, is she on the Mole?
No, she's just going to talk about it.
Is that like the original Mole or
No,
a
new
reboot?
Mole on Netflix.
Similar style as the original.
Similar style.
That
Different
was
hosts.
one of my favorite early day reality shows.
Oh, you should watch the new one.
Better. Okay, well,
yeah. Check that out. I'm also talking about The Real Love Boat.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then not your favorite show, The Amazing Race. Also, got a recap, new season going on. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
And so much going on. Go check out robhasawebsite.com/subscribe. Check out everything Ethan has going on. Ethan, again, thank you so much. And everybody, we'll see you next time. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.